and that somehow then you have some powerful elements within the donor class or the establishment class that actually either sit out the election or worse, God forbid worse, actually rally behind Hillary Clinton. Both of those scenarios will be a disaster for not only our party, but I think more importantly for our country.
I agree with that as well. I mean, I think we're of the same mind on a lot of things here. But I think that the campaign, and at least I hope, is going to take a more serious turn for a lot of voters out there. I know the candidates are already serious, but I think the untimely passing of Justice Scalia has really set a more sobering tone, or at least it should be, among a lot of voters, because that truly underscores what the future is for our nation. That we're really at a crossroads here, and the passing of Justice Scalia really typifies that and drives that point home to, I hope, a lot of voters.
Well, we've actually almost passed the tipping point. It's at a point now where we now need to reverse and drive the mixing up metaphors here, but put the car or the vehicle that is the American Republic into high gear in the other direction. I mean, we have had 7 years of Barack Obama. We had a re-election of a president with a disastrous record in his first term. And we have an opportunity to perhaps, and it's not going to just take one election, it's going to take what occurred with the Reagan Revolution, which was when the Reagan Revolution, Ronald Reagan came into power, he changed the whole narrative of discussion about government from what had been dominant since the New Deal, which is that the government is your friend, the government is your doctor, it's your friend, for the black community, it's your husband. I mean, the government was everything for people's lives, and that was the dominant narrative. And government, and Ronald Reagan came in, and his inaugural address said, government isn't the solution to the problem, government is the problem. And that beginning of that narrative, and people always say, well, Ronald Reagan, government grew under Ronald Reagan, the deficit grew under Ronald Reagan. That is all true, okay? But Ronald Reagan, of course, single-handedly won the Cold War with his government spending, particularly in national defense. But more importantly, he changed the culture and the narrative of first the Republican Party and then the entire United States of America. And that trajectory changed. And by the way, to Barack Obama's credit, he recognizes this, and he admires Ronald Reagan for this, because Ronald Reagan changed the trajectory of the United States of America, not just for his 2 terms in office, but for the next 20 to 25 years. Because essentially, you can essentially call this the Reagan era. From 1980 to, I would say, I would even predate it to 1978 when you had the California tax revolt in California. But from really 1980 to 2001, until September 11, 2001, the dominant political focus was that we need to shrink the size of government, we need to cut taxes. Taxes were burdensome on the American people. Government was spending too much. That was the dominant narrative, so much so that even Bill Clinton, who was a brilliant politician, recognized where the winds of history were blowing at the time when he said the era of big government is over. That occurred because of the trajectory and the power of the Reagan Revolution. We need something like that to reverse us from what has happened under Barack Obama.
And part of reversing that is grassroots organizing and Tea Party organizations across America, much like you've been doing for years, Niger. I mean, I look at what you're doing with Tea Party Forward, and it really, I think that revolution comes from educating voters like you've been doing.
Yes.
Tell people about what you're seeing working with Tea Party Forward and how voters react when they find out the truth about who's representing them.
Well, I'm so proud to be chairman of Tea Party Forward. It's one of the most important national Tea Party organizations in the country. It's an amalgam of a variety of Tea Party organizations that have come together under its umbrella. And it actually is, I would say, on the cutting edge of the next wave of the Tea Party revolution, which is, we've already started the narrative, if you will, and dominated the narrative and say the talking points and the theme of the Republican Party. Where we now have to be successful, and this election is really going to dictate if we are successful or not, is making sure that we not only select the right candidates, but then when these candidates become elected office holders, they follow through on what they promised the American people. And I feel pretty confident that we're going to do that with the right head of our ticket. This is going to sound controversial to a lot of my brothers and sisters within the Tea Party. But I actually have a little bit of, just a tiny bit of patience for Paul Ryan and for Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is not an ideologue. He's certainly not a Tea Partier. He's not a conservative ideologue. But what he is a tactician. And if the winds of history are blowing a particular way, Mitch McConnell will get on the bandwagon and will be a surgeon for the president that he serves, should it be a Republican president that is elected. In the case of Paul Ryan is actually even better because Paul Ryan actually came out of the conservative movement. He is a movement conservative. Now, granted, it's more of the Jack Kemp wing of conservative politics, but he's certainly as conservative as most of us within the Tea Party movement. So I actually think, again, that under the right leadership, with the right president of the United States, that these guys, Speaker Ryan and Majority Leader McConnell, hopefully he remains Majority Leader McConnell. It's going to be a tough, very competitive year for the Senate. Majority Leader McConnell will do the right thing and do the proper bidding of a president of the United States that has a vision and has the guts to execute that vision.
Well, it sounds great to me. Folks, you got to go check out teapartyforward.com. I checked out the site. It's great looking. It's inspiring. You makes you want to go out and start canvassing right now. And Niger, listen, thanks for coming on the show. I hope to see you at CPAC in a couple of weeks, and we'll catch up even further down the road. I appreciate you coming on, pal.
Sounds good. God bless.
And that was Niger Innis from Tea Party Forward. Great analysis of the election 2016 race and where we stand right now, Russ.
In all seriousness, Gene, how do you do it? Niger Innis is huge. How do you get these
huge? My name is Gene Baradelli. I host Behind Enemy Lines. That's all I need to say.
I mean, one of these days include me on an interview.
Let me just say this. Well,
huge get, really. Great interview.
I appreciate that. And let me give a shout out to all the press flags and public relations people that help make Behind Enemy Lines the great show that it is. But now it's time to pump it up a little bit. Let's turn it up to 11 for our good friend from Town Hall, the UK correspondent there, and Behind Enemy Lines contributor. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the one and only Andre Walker.
Hello and welcome. I'm Andre Walker, and your weekly monologue starts right now. The Democratic race took an unexpected turn this week, with polls showing Hillary Clinton has lost the support of women. But which was the biggest shock? That she lost women or that she had them in the first place? After all, the last time a Clinton was in the White House, his actions left a nasty taste in the mouths of a number of women voters, particularly young ones, not least Monica Lewinsky. She ended up both down and indeed out in the end. Makes you wonder whether the Democrats relaxed the blockade of Cuba so Bill could get a better quality of cigar in the White House this time round. If American women have anything to do with it, we'll never find out. But Bill didn't look happy as he stood behind Hillary at her New Hampshire campaign wake. I think everyone could understand why he looked so freaked out. But always remember, Bill, we had to look at her from the front, which is a much more traumatic experience altogether. But it wasn't all bad for Hillary this week. We're now told her staff deleted a total of 30,000 emails, making it impossible for investigators to work out what she knew about Benghazi. Cast your mind back to President Nixon, who was publicly ruined and thrown out of the White House. The public were outraged when he deleted just 18.5 minutes of tape. It all seems so trivial by comparison today. In the words of the millionaire pop hippie Johnny Mitchell, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. This week saw the death of Justice Scalia, a great American patriot, defender of the Constitution and friend to the United Kingdom. This broadcast is, of course, dedicated to him. His loss would have been a tragedy if it wasn't for the fact it gives Obama the opportunity to nominate a pro-abortion, anti-gun communist to the Supreme Court. That, my friends, qualifies it as a catastrophe. The reason that outsiders like Trump and Sanders are making such headway is because the American public think the political establishment are a bunch of lettuce-eating, mineral water swilling centrists with all the political bravery of a 9-year-old girl guide. Isn't it time the Senate proved us all wrong and blocked this appointment until somebody else is in the White House, proving for once they actually got some guts? Folks, whatever you do, do not hold your breath. That's this week's monologue. Now just time for the results of last week's poll, in which we asked you which Sanders would make the best president of the United States. Senator Bernie got 41%, chicken frying entrepreneur Colonel Harland got 9%, but 50% of you said neither, because they're both corpses. This week, we're asking which Hillary would make the best president. Email deleting Flanders' wife, Hillary Clinton, luscious model, Hillary Rhoda, or British crime writer, Hillary Boner. So which Hillary is it to be? Those options again: Clinton, Rhoda, Boner. We'll be announcing the results this time next week. The poll and the debate on this show are available on my Twitter at Andre JP Walker. Until next week, goodbye.
Check out Andre's column at townhall.com. Check him out on Twitter at Andre JP Walker. And read Andre's work here, Behind Enemy Lines. Now back to the show. Clinton, Rhoda, Bona. Who's your choice, America? That was fantastic. But, dare I say, as great as Andre Walker is, and he's great, this next segment may be the one to shut down Behind Enemy Lines. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the great debate between Russ Gallo and Yak Attack, Yak Bard. Gentlemen, first and foremost, I have a coin in my hand. We're going to have a coin toss to see who will be the first to speak, or you can kick or defer, whatever you want to do. Russ, this is heads, this is tails. Since you are the home team, I'm going to allow you to call it. What do you call?
I call heads.
And, as everyone sees, it is indeed heads. Do you prefer to go first or second? Now, if you go first now, you go last at the end for the closing.
I am the Tom Brady of Brooklyn, so I will defer and let Yak open.
All right, Yak, you're going to be allowed.
By the way, going from Andre's accent to ours is going to be a little bit of a letdown for you folks.
It's a little bit of culture shock, I think. Maybe a little.
Let's give it a whirl.
All right, so what we say? Yak's going first. I'm drinking. Never mind. Yak, you get to go first. Yak Bard, the purveyor of the yakattacks.blogspot.com, joining us right now. Yak, I'm going to give you the microphone. You're going to have 30 seconds to open. Here you go, sir.
Little known fact, Yak actually invented the color orange. Go ahead, Yak.
Yes, I did. And let me first finish my drink.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Wow.
No, okay, I'll finish it later. But, all right. My point today is we're not debating about, we all love Cruz. But, Russ Gallo says that Trump is his second, and I'm sorry, I gotta disagree. Trump is an inconsistent, unhinged, not conservative thug. Alright? I said it, and here we go. Now, I just don't understand. I started off as a rhino, and Russ Gallo made me more conservative than I was like 5 years ago.
There's the bell. There's the bell.
So how come? Hold on. But so I don't get it. How the hell does Russ Gallo embrace a piece of garbage like Donald Trump?
Wow. Okay. Start the clock. First of all, did he just call Donald Trump unhinged? That was my first question. I'm just going to read some Donald Trump quotes while I have time, and then I'll let Yak respond. So here's Donald Trump. What can be simpler or more accurately stated? The Mexican government is forcing their most unwanted people into the United States. They are, in many cases, criminals, drug dealers, rapists, etc. Next, Donald Trump. I'm going to say, Mexico, this is not going to continue. You're going to pay for that wall, and they will pay for that wall. Next, New Hampshire. The bell rang. I heard the bell. I'll